Hello, my name's Dominic Frisby, and I'm just back from a 2-week trip to the States. And what a time I had. I felt so privileged to be there at what feels like the dawn of a new golden age for this most amazing of countries. The first week I spent in Palm Springs, California, visiting my mum, and the second, in Naples, Florida, and quite the contrast. One, California, was meltdown central. The other was in a state of jubilation. Everyone everywhere was talking about the US AID revelations. Now, I didn't know Naples, but what a stunning place. Hot, sunny, green, humid, beautiful. The architecture's lovely, even the new builds. That's traditional measures for you. It was polite, safe, cultured, healthy, delicious food. Life seems to slow down as soon as you arrive there, and what's happening elsewhere no longer seems to matter. And I think were I to go there and settle, I would lose all ambition. But the problem with settling there, though, never mind visas, its price. It has the most expensive real estate in the US. One house was for sale for $295 million. Even Satoshi Nakamoto would wince at paying that. I told my kids when they were growing up, said Mike, who I was having dinner with, this is not the real world. Naples is not reality. It's something else. They needed to know that. And I turned to his son, Matty Ice, who was the man who brought me to Naples to talk about tax and Bitcoin and other things on his podcast, The Runway Pod. And he's an entrepreneur, family man in his early 30s. And he just said, well, I'm not leaving. Why would I? And it turns out that lots of people come to Naples on a temporary basis and then decide to stay. And it's not just Naples real estate that's expensive, by the way. The whole of the US has got super dear. I paid $18 for a pint of beer in Miami airport. I had dinner at a friend's. He paid $60 for 3 steaks for the barbecue. I thought steak was cheap in the US. In a Palm Springs supermarket, I paid $4.99 for 3 organic onions. They saw me coming. And in general, I would say food is twice the price that it is in the UK, and that's with a strong dollar. The country has got very expensive. Inflation is a big issue. My eldest son works in recruitment in the chemicals industry, and most of the time he's recruiting into the US, and he says US workers get paid 3 times the money for doing the same job as a UK worker, in that industry at least. But whether it's Naples, neighbouring Fort Myers, or Miami, Florida, or Los Angeles, or Palm Springs, California, there is a lot of money in America. You can see it everywhere. It's several standard deviations of wealth up from the UK. And you can see the wealth in the houses, even the middle class houses, in the cars, in the clothes, in the prices. We in the UK have been left behind, and it was not always like this. And that wealth gap, I'm afraid, is only going to get bigger as the UK continues to pursue high taxes, big regulation, mass migration, and zero growth, while the US goes in the other direction. The place is full of opportunity. Go to the US, move there if you can, especially if you're young. It was already something special, but something really special is happening there. And these Washington purges are cleaning the place up. You've read the news, you've been on X, you've seen what's going on. You really don't need me to tell you. But one other thing. Watch what you eat when you're there. I put on 5 pounds, 2 kilos in just 2 weeks. Mind you, I couldn't stop eating. The food is so yum. And people in the gym there, they kept asking me, how did I get to be so lean? And I would say, by not living in America and eating American food. By the way, I don't believe this level of political reform would have happened to anything like the same extent without the involvement of Elon Musk. He really is doing God's work, rooting out all that corruption. And what emerges will be so much cleaner, more efficient, more honest, and more united. There's a purge to get through, but we'll get there. But of all the things I actually witnessed in person, do you know what most blew my mind? And I didn't expect this. It wasn't the $295 million houses. It wasn't all the private aircraft in Naples airport next to where we were recording. It was driving in a Tesla on autopilot. I'd never done it before, and I know I'm late to this, but OMG. So Matty, he typed our destination into the computer in the car, put the car into self-driving mode, and off it went. It was a noticeably better driver than I am. Positioned itself on the road well, stayed in the middle of the lane at all times, cornered beautifully, maintained the exact right distance to the car ahead, knew the speed limits of all the roads we drove on, knew all the regulations, knew when the lights were changing, set off straight away. It's got 360-degree cameras awareness. A human can only look in one direction. Knew exactly what other cars nearby were doing. Didn't get impatient, start doing silly things like jumping lights, like somebody else I could mention. And with machine learning, each Tesla is feeding back info to HQ so that every car is learning from the other's experiences. Teslas know the roads, every inch of them, better than you, even the local roads. And they're learning how to deal with every conceivable traffic incident. And this data-driven driving constantly updates. Now, I'm a backseat driver. I often put my foot down on the imaginary brake, and as I was getting over my control issues, I did this at a red light was in the distance, and it turned out it was miles away, and the Tesla braked at exactly the right time. Got us to our destination, reversed and parked with precision into a tight spot. I'm a good parker. Tesla was better. Of course it was. It's got 360-degree vision, and my neck is getting stiff. And the driving conditions were good. But how much better would the Tesla be in rain or fog or ice, I wondered. And Matty pointed this out to me. Tesla is as much a software company. It's a platform like Airbnb or Facebook or TripAdvisor as it is a car company. The next day, I had an Uber drive me from Naples to Miami Airport. The Uber driver was good. Sometimes he was doing things on his phone, changing the podcast he was listening to, updating the map, whatever. And I was thinking, look at the road. I found myself thinking. Sometimes, it was a 2-hour journey. Sometimes he strayed from the middle of the lane. Just made human mistakes. One time he braked sharply. There's no such imperfection in the Tesla. Transport, as we know it, is about to change. And the main barriers to Tesla's self-driving progress are regulatory. But a certain Elon Musk is now in a position of influence. Donald Trump's just said he's going to buy a Tesla. He is on side. And one of the reasons he's doing what he's doing is to clear out the regulators and the bureaucrats who were so biased against him and blocked his progress and whom he came to despise. So I think the regulatory barriers to self-driving vehicles start to come down quickly. And they will soon be a feature on US roads. They already are in places. But then what happens? And this is what Matty said. I will have my car drop me at the office and I'll instruct it to pick me up at 5 o'clock. And then in the meantime, I'll put it to work. In other words, his car will not be idly parked all day. It will spend the day ferrying other people about. It will earn him money. And other Tesla owners will do the same. It's like buying a bigger house so you can rent the room out on Airbnb. Suddenly, owning a Tesla will become potentially profitable. A car will not be quite such a depreciating asset. No doubt, some people are going to buy fleets of them. And like any other platform, Tesla will take a cut of the profit. So just to get the self-driving capability added to the software of the vehicle, you've got to pay another 10 grand or something like that. Then comes the rent. Leaving your car parked 95% of the time, as most of us do, my car in London can stay parked for weeks at a time. It is inefficient. Not for much longer, at least in the US. It'll be years before we allow it here in the UK or Europe. Of course it will. But what happens to American roads in the meantime? Fewer people are going to own cars, especially in cities. They won't need to. They can just call a Tesla. So that probably means less traffic on the roads. But what happens to the rest of the auto industry? Fewer car sales. The cost of taxis is going to come down. Drivers are going to lose their jobs to robots. Guess something similar happens to the trucking industry too. The roads themselves are going to be used more efficiently as robots drive demonstrably better, leading to better traffic flow and less congestion. Public transport will see fewer users. Why use such a smelly system when you can travel privately in a Tesla? Self-driving cars were a pipe dream. That is going to change. American roads are about to change. Now, there are other self-driving operators, Waymo, Cruise or Mobileye, which are already fully operational in limited areas. A lot of people, i.e. driverless, a lot of people like the Jaguars. They've partnered with the likes of Jaguar, Mercedes, Volvo, Hyundai. But they don't have the end-to-end autonomy that Tesla does. And they don't have Tesla's immense network effect. Tesla's already has the best-selling car in the world. And the network effect is an incredibly powerful force in the evolution of a business. It's often more important than the tech itself. It's why, for example, VHS beat Betamax, or CDs obliterated minidisc. It's why I advocate Bitcoin ahead of other shitcoins. Tesla's dominance on roads could be on a par with Apple's dominance of the smartphone market. It's that far ahead of the pack. So, with this correction, should we all be buying stock in Tesla? Ticker symbol TSLA. Well, it's a very expensive company, has come down with the recent correction, but it's got a market cap around about $1 trillion. It's among the world's most valuable companies. Anyway, in my Substack, there's also, by the way, the problem that people who previously bought a Tesla for environmental reasons, often left-wing people, don't like Elon Musk, so they're no longer buying. So there's that to deal with. But I break down all the numbers over on my Substack, and so please go and take a look. There'll be a link somewhere on the screen here and in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back with another video very soon. Until then, please subscribe to the channel. Please like, please share, all that stuff. And please subscribe to my Substack. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.